Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith here at the National Weather Service in Pocatello with your weather hazard briefing for Southeast Idaho for Wednesday, March 5th. And we have a mess of a storm to talk about this morning. So I'm going to try to move fast through some of this, but there is a lot to cover here. Really, the whole focus of our forecast this morning is this storm that's coming in starting later this afternoon into tonight, continuing throughout the day Thursday, and then wrapping up on Friday morning. Very challenging forecast because we're dealing with very marginal temperatures that are just a little bit below or a little bit above freezing. And that's going to mean a world of difference as far as precipitation type. And there's huge chunks of our forecast area here that are going to be grappling with this here as we go through the course of this storm. This is resulting in huge gradients and snow accumulations in our forecast from valley floors to nearby terrain. We're talking, valley floor picking up an inch or two with most of the storm falling as rain, going up 1,000 feet up the terrain, and suddenly we're seeing 10 to 20 inches of snow because we're seeing heavy snow with no rain mixing in with those slightly colder temperatures. We'll look at that here in a moment as well. And just a change of a few degrees is going to mean the difference between some locations picking up an inch or two of snow and some locations picking up maybe 7 or more inches of snow. And this includes population centers like Burley and Pocatello, as well as places like Arco. We'll look at a few others here in a moment as well. So we'll be focused in on this. And then we do have a break coming, though, on the backside of this system, high pressure, supporting dry and gradually warming conditions as we go into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So a nice weekend and a nice start to the new week compared to what we're going to see up front here. Weather risk outlook front loaded. Here's the storm. Starts later this afternoon into tonight. It peaks throughout the day on Thursday. You can see different areas here. We have rain, we have snow, we have some breezy conditions, some snow showers wrapping up Friday morning, really clearing out of the Central Mountain region very early in the morning on Friday, and then ending last down across portions of the Snake Plain into the southern and eastern highlands. But by mid-Friday afternoon, it looks like everybody will be done and wrapped up here as we head toward a quiet weekend. Here's what we've done with watches, warnings, and advisories this morning. As we mentioned yesterday, most of the region now has something in effect for them. Excuse me. Purple shading, winter weather advisories, generally indicating a little bit lower snowfall totals, generally travel issues, some travel inconveniences, some slick conditions expected out there. But again, we're going to talk in a moment because there's some big bust potential here as far as the snowfall amounts. Down here across the south, the valleys here in the southern, the Malta area, the south central highlands, I-15 over into Preston, may not actually get that much snow, but there's such a gradient that by the time you get up to some of the mountain passes along our major highways here, we're talking about 5, 6, 8 inches of snow and even more in Immigration. So we do have a winter storm warning, a higher level of alert here in pink from the Bear River Range west across our southern highlands. And you can see if you're traveling outside of Southeast Idaho, lots of alerts have been issued this morning as you head up into Montana or over into Wyoming, some of the mountainous areas in Utah as well. Current satellite, clouds are streaming in. Many areas are a mix of clouds and some clear spots or even cloudy already this morning, and we're going to see the cloud cover increase here over the course of the day as the storm approaches from the southwest. Nothing happening much on radar yet, but by the time we get to mid-afternoon, that'll change. And high temperatures today, not a big trend from what we've seen the past day or two. Readings getting up into the upper 30s, some mid to upper 40s here creeping in across the eastern Magic Valley into the Raft River region and over to Pocatello. Can already start to see this is going to get complicated here as we start to bring precipitation in. As we look through about 11 p.m. tonight, this is our Winter Storm Severity Index. It's looking at snow, it's looking at ice, it's looking at wind, it's looking at all winter impacts. And just a little bit of this lowest level blue shading here. And the areas you see shaded in blue are the areas that may start to see some snow accumulation first. as we go into the evening tonight, as we see that precipitation spreading across the region. You can see areas like our population corridor here from Twin Falls to Burley to American Falls to Blackfoot, not really shaded in because that's one of the first areas that's going to see predominantly rain. Temperatures will be just warm enough here as the system starts moving in. As we advance to tomorrow, here's the brunt of the storm. Anywhere you see yellow or orange, this is going to be where the most difficult travel conditions are expected. You can see we're still shaded in light blue from Idaho Falls all the way down through Burley and Twin Falls for at least some accumulation and some potential for some slick driving conditions. But mountain passes and other highways here, anywhere you see the yellow and orange, are going to be the most challenging, with colder temperatures supporting greater snowfall. And some of the snow will come down heavy at times during the day on Thursday. Here's a look at high temperatures Thursday. You can see that we've backed off a few more degrees. Some areas are near freezing. Some areas are a few degrees above freezing. The challenge here is going to be cold air coming in from the west during the afternoon. These highest temperatures that you see on this graphic for Thursday, remember the brunt of our storm, may actually happen in the morning or lunchtime. And then we'll start to cool slowly from the west, changing rain over to snow, even down into lower elevations of the eastern Magic Valley. And then everything changing to snow as it progresses eastward. So again, a lot of moving parts, a lot of challenges here due to those temperatures. Let's pause here for a sec. This is our latest and greatest storm total snowfall. This runs from this evening, Wednesday evening, through the day Thursday into Friday morning. So we're looking at maybe a 36-hour period or so for this storm. A few things I want to call out. First, you can see, look how low some of these accumulations may be in the valleys. Malta, maybe an inch or two. Preston, an inch or two. But just east or west as you go into the terrain from any of these locations, we're talking 10 to 20 inches of snow expected because of those colder temperatures and this moderate to heavy precipitation remaining all snow and not mixing with rain. Huge gradient setting up here as well. Burley to Pocatello to Blackfoot to Idaho Falls, like 1 to 3 inches is our best guess forecast right now. But just a little to the northwest of that, look how rapidly we see an increase of accumulations here out into the Mud Lake area, the Arco Desert, Craters of the Moon. Places like Telegraph Hill and Tomcat Summit, you may be seeing significant travel impacts. Very heavy snow out across this area if temperatures can hold cold and everything can stay snow. And right now the models are leaning that direction, and that's why we have such a bullseye here out across this area where we'll see probably on the order of 6 to 10 inches of snow. That's running quite a bit higher than our model blend, but some of our other guidance, some of our raw guidance that is colder is supporting these accumulations. Up here in the northern central mountains, you're going to be on the northwest edge of all of this, so only an inch or two for places like Stanley and Chalice. Galena Summit southward, we'll start to see a bit more. Willow Creek southward, we'll start to see a bit more. And of course, the higher terrain here up above pass level, seeing 6 to 12 inches or so as you get up there. So again, huge differences here. Driggs only an inch or two, but Pine Creek Pass probably 5 or more inches as you go over the pass there. This is all driven by temperature and issues with rain versus snow for portions of the storm. And everybody's going to have a shot of snow at some point. We may see a little bit mix in here from the eastern Magic Valley to the lower Snake Plain early Thursday morning, while temperatures are normally coldest before a change back to rain. Much better chance of snow everywhere down in these valleys as we get into Thursday afternoon and evening as colder air starts working into the region. So there may be multiple precip type changes with all of this as well. The only other comment I'll make here, this is one of those events, because of everything we just discussed, that we're going to need to do a lot of nowcasting. We're going to need to be watching radar, watching hour-by-hour trends in temperature, watching the webcams and the reports that are coming in to see exactly what type of precipitation is falling where as we proceed through this storm, because, again, a difference of just a few degrees is going to make a big impact. We do have a couple sources of guidance that are going higher than 7 inches of snow for Burley and Pocatello, and you can see that is not our best guessed forecast here right now, because we do believe that there will be substantial periods of rain, at least during the first half of the event. So a lot of potential for one location to maybe pan out, but a nearby location to not, and maybe overperform on snowfall. Again, all driven by temperature and precipitation type. Another great illustration of this, we talked yesterday about how Immigration Summit and Highway 36 over the pass there is one of the first areas we were calling out for some potentially significant travel impacts. But again, look at these gradients, 1 to 4 inches, depending on, again, temperature down in Preston, rapidly increasing to over a foot of snow expected up here at Immigration Summit, tapering down again somewhat here into the Bear River Valley, Montpelier, Ovid, seeing about 3 to 7 inches. So this is the story that's going to play out at a lot of our different mountain passes. Quick graphic here to touch on wind as well. We are going to be breezy late Thursday morning and then peaking during the afternoon and evening hours. Generally, those winds coming out of the northwest here from Boise or coming out of the north over the Continental Divide into northern portions of our forecast area. These are gusts that you're seeing here on the map. Doesn't take a lot. Gusts of 25 or so miles an hour can cause some issues for our transportation partners as far as snowfall being blown across highways. But the challenge here again is going to be marginal temperatures. Some of these areas that are going to gust over 20 miles an hour may see either periods of rain mixing in or periods of the storm where temperatures are pretty close to freezing, and that tends to stabilize and moisten the snowpack a little bit and make it less susceptible to blowing. Whereas some of our colder areas here in the eastern highlands, the Big Hole Mountains southward, will be cold and mostly snow for the event. Most of the central mountains north of Haley here will be colder for the event, but there's less snow up there. Some of these areas either we'll be seeing less snow, or over here in the east, we're actually just seeing lighter winds, even though that snow might be a little drier and more susceptible to blowing. So again, a lot of low confidence, a lot of moving parts here, a lot that we're just going to have to wait and see how it pans out. Okay, finally, let's walk through some of the signals we're seeing here. This is just one of many computer models trying to simulate what it thinks the radar might look like as we walk through the storm. It's not perfect, but it does give us kind of a general idea of some of the trends that we're expecting. So as we kick things off at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we should see some rain and mountain snow starting to move in from the south across the eastern Magic Valley, Malta, Burley, Oakley, maybe over toward Malad, while the rest of the region is still waiting, mostly dry. As we go 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. this evening, you see that moderate precipitation advances northward across Shoshone, approaching Arco, approaching Blackfoot. Few of the models are maybe an hour or two slower than this with the advance of the precipitation. But again, general trend and idea here is looking pretty good. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight. We see that precipitation continuing to spread north, and it's pretty widespread. These are pretty strong signals here for at least moderate rain and snow falling, and it's really not going to let up here as we advance forward. 11, midnight, 1 a.m. Thursday, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. What we start to notice is we actually develop this corridor. Obviously, there's widespread precipitation, but by early Thursday morning, this corridor right up the Snake Plains starts to kind of light up with some heavier ongoing rain and snow falling. And again, there might be quite the gradient between rain here in population centers, snow as you get out toward places like INL and Arco. 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., not much movement. You can see that band still standing out of heavier precipitation, rain and snow, depending on where you are. Burley may be getting in on that as well. Meanwhile, lighter but still widespread precipitation up here across the Central Mountains and down here in the southeast. So not a very showery system, pretty widespread falling rain and snow expected. 9, 10 a.m. Thursday, 11 a.m., noon, 1 o'clock. One thing we note here, more showery nature to the precipitation starting to expand here in the southeast. This is actually a little mini warm sector where there's maybe just enough instability that there may be a flash of lightning or a clap of thunder here during the afternoon, midday and afternoon hours, particularly to the south and east of Idaho Falls, south and east of Pocatello here. And things may break up for just a little bit and get a little more convective and a little more showery for a little while. Still a mix of rain and snow depending on your location. Meanwhile, broad swath of heavier precipitation again from Shoshone and Burley up across Arco, INL, up toward the Island Park area. 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, not much movement to that band, still showery in the southeast. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 p.m. Thursday evening. Overall, seeing things trying to lighten up a little bit, although still quite a bit of rain and snow shower activity out there. And by this time, just about everyone should be snow as we move into the cooler temperatures here in the evening. Finally, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock Thursday night, starting to thin out here as we go into the night across the Central Mountains and up in southern portions of Montana, but still quite a bit of snow shower activity in some areas of moderate snow here, probably still ongoing as we go deep into the night, Thursday night into Friday morning. High temperatures on Friday, cooler as we start to shut everything down during the day, but we're going to end everybody as snow as the system winds down and moves off to the south and east. Saturday, high pressure moving in, break between systems, drier weather, not gaining much on those temperatures just yet, but it's on our doorstep. Boise, 57, Mountain Home, 53, predominantly 30s and a few low 40s here in eastern Idaho. Sunday, we start to warm those temperatures up just a little bit, 45 creeping into Burley, 46 up in Stanley, and then by Monday, we start to see a few 50-degree readings return across the far lowest elevations here from the eastern Magic Valley to Pocatello. A lot to cover today. Hopefully that gave everybody a little bit of a sense of what we're looking at here. Again, very complex storm. Some locations may pan out really well, but some locations may overperform on their snowfall based on how temperatures go and how precipitation types go. It's going to be something we're going to have to watch very carefully here as we go through tonight, Thursday night, and Friday morning. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, we're here 24/7. Feel free to reach out to us. Information is shown here at the bottom of your screen. And everyone have a great Wednesday.